What's up, guys? Josh Sykes with Bent Rods Guide Service. Today in our video series, everything you need to know about, we're going to be covering jerk baits and everything you need to know about them. What line, what gear ratio reel, what kind of rod to use to throw these jerk baits, what seasons to throw them in, what colors and depth range and brands we're going to cover here today. And so first thing we're going to cover is the line, rods, and reels that we're using to throw these jerk baits on. I'm not super brand specific, and so this is actually a Powell rod. I've thrown it on Dobbins rods, I've thrown it on Denali rods, I've thrown it on I rods. The main thing that you're going to want in a good jerkbait rod is, I personally like something less than 7 foot long. And so most of the time when I'm working that jerkbait, I've got my rod tip facing towards the water. And if I get above a 7 foot, especially 7'3", I'm starting to hit the side of the boat, or I'm starting to hit the water, top of the water with the rod. And so I like something a little bit shorter. This is a 610. This is a moderate fast action rod, and so you don't want a glass rod for a jerk bait, because you want something with a stiff enough tip to it that when you pull it, it's going to make that bait react and jerk and dart in the water column. But once again, you don't want something that's super stiff, because you do have these small treble hooks and you don't want those fish to pull loose. And so a good moderate fast action rod, anywhere from a 6.6 to a 6.10 seems to be my sweet spot of what I really like in a jerkbait rod. As far as reels go, I like a 7:3 to 1 gear ratio reel. A lot of times with that jerkbait bite, you'll jerk and pause, and they'll hit it coming 1,000 miles an hour, and either they're coming going away from you and they're stripping drag, or they're coming to you. You got to catch up to them really quick. These fish are going to be up high in the water column, so they're very active, and they're going to be swimming real fast. And so a good 7:3 to 1 gear ratio reel. And I personally like 10 or 12 pound Sunline fluorocarbon line. This is 12 pound Sunline. This is what I throw most of the time. If I'm throwing a deep diving jerkbait and I'm trying to get a little bit deeper, that's when I'll step down to that 10 pound line. But 12 pound Sunline fluorocarbon seems to be kind of the sweet spots for me, and what I personally throw mine on most of the time. Now, as far as jerkbaits go, brands and colors, there's a few different colors and a few different brands that I personally throw. If the fish are actively feeding on shad, I really find it hard to beat regular old Mega Bass Vision 110. This bait right here has probably caught more fish than any other jerkbait in my boat. It's great for the shad spawn. It's great because it has good darting action. It doesn't roll side to side too bad. It darts more, walks the dog and darts more so than rolling. It's a great jerkbait. It's got very light hooks, so you got to set your drag pretty loose to fish this bait. But you can tell most of my Mega Bass jerk baits are going to be in some sort of shad pattern. You can see here is the chrome black back. I think it's called Deadly Black. It's the name of this color. Caught a pile of fish on this color when they're feeding up on shad. Now, in the wintertime and in pre-spawn, we're not specifically targeting fish that's chasing shad. And that's what's about to come here in the next few months. And so kind of a wintertime jerk bait that I've really fallen in love with is the Rattle Trap Scope Stick. And so they make a couple different sizes and a couple different ways that they dive. And so the first one I throw is the Scope Stick 100. This is the Scope Stick 100. This is actually in a floating version. This is a great one to throw on top of grass. So this bait's going to dive about 3 foot deep, and it's going to have a slow rise to it. And so what that does is, if you get on top of that grass, especially like right now on Rayburn with it being so low, if you throw another jerkbait in there, especially a suspending jerkbait, it continues to dive deeper and deeper. It's going to bury in that grass, and you can't keep it on top of the grass very well with this shallow grass like it is now. But you can throw these smaller jerkbaits that have a slow rise to them, get them right on top of the grass and let it slowly rise, jerk it back down, let it slowly rise, and catch a pile of fish on it. This time of year in December, these fish are relating to very small shad, and so this 100 series seems to be a little bit better. You can tell the color here is just a matte white finish. This is called Cajun Pearl. So great color right now with cold water. I don't like anything too flashy or too bright. I like these matte finishes, and this is a great color to catch a lot of fish on. Next up, we've got a little bit bigger size version. This is what I'm going to start throwing in mid-January to late January when they get more on a pre-spawn pattern, or I'll even throw this bait during the spawn a little bit as well. And this is the Scope Stick 120. So this is a little bit larger profile bait. It's going to get a little bit better bites for you. And really, I'm only going to throw it in a couple of colors. Once again, when I'm out here throwing in pre-spawn, I'm throwing, I like to keep my colors super simple. If I'm in super clear water and a bright sunny day, kind of like we have today, this is the color I'm picking up. It's kind of a sexy shad looking color. It's got a purple back on it, got a yellow stripe down the side, but it's a translucent color. Something that's translucent seems to be better in super clear water and with the sun up high. This is the version that dives 4 to 6 foot deep, and it's a suspending jerkbait. So this is one I'm going to work more so on the outside grass lines, kind of keep just on that grass line and let those fish swim out the grass and eat this jerkbait. And then lastly, I've got the Scope Stick 120. This is in that matte white finish. This is one of my favorite colors, called Cajun Pearl. But this is actually a little bit deeper diving jerkbait. This one dives 7 to 10 foot. This is one I'm going to throw a lot in the pre-spawn. The key to a jerkbait is you want to keep the bait just above the fish. You don't want it to be 10 foot above the fish. You don't want it to get below the fish. And it seems like this jerkbait here dives about 8 foot deep, and a lot of those pre-spawn fish are going to be at that 10 to 15 foot range. And if I can keep this bait 8 foot deep above those fish, they'll swim up to it and they'll absolutely crush it. Now, this is a bait that I'm going to start picking up mid-January. I'm going to throw this around stump flats. I'm going to throw this on points. I'm going to throw this where creek swings are, or hard spots in that 10 to 15 foot range. And I'm going to use my live scope and my forward-facing sonar to target specific fish with this specific jerkbait. And then lastly, when the fish push up onto the beds and they begin to spawn, what I always pick up that time of year is kind of old school, but is just a regular old Smithwick Rogue. You absolutely cannot beat gold blackback with an orange belly. Best color out here on both of these lakes, in my opinion, on Toledo and Rayburn, and really all around the country. This color gets bit. What's so great about this is it doesn't dive very deep. It doesn't dart hard side to side, and you don't want a bait in the spawn that really is going to dart and move a whole lot. You want it to come to the boat. You mainly want it to dive, come up, dive, come up. And what that's going to do is you're throwing a lot around bushes, you're throwing a lot around trees, you're throwing a lot around grass clumps, and you're throwing over the top of beds. And so what you don't want that bait to do is you don't want to throw it right beside a tree and it dart into the tree and hang up, or dart into a bush and hang up, or dart off of the side of a bed. You want that bait to track straight back to the boat. And that's what this Smithwick Rogue does so well. This bait has caught thousands and thousands and thousands of fish over the years. It's just a staple in my tackle box and many other anglers as well. So go pick up one of these Smithwick Rogues, gold blackback, orange belly. It absolutely catches them. And then lastly, when they get on that shad spawn bite, that's when I'm picking up these Mega Bass jerkbaits. A chrome color or some sort of flat white color, or every once in a while I will throw something with a real bright chartreuse belly on it and a purple back, kind of like a table rock color. This bait will call them up and they'll absolutely crush it as well. And so that's the baits I throw. That's kind of the different seasons that I'm going to throw those baits in. And it seems to work out here on Toledo and Rayburn. And every lake I've been to, honestly, these same patterns would apply to you. So no matter where you are, no matter where you're fishing, put some of these things to work. Put it on 12-pound fluorocarbon line. Throw it out there by a tree or by a bush in the spawn. Throw it out by a grass line right now, or just getting piles of shad and throw these jerk baits. Man, you can watch them fish come up and eat it, and it's a pile of fun. So if you have any questions, drop them in the comment box. If you need any help learning how to throw jerk baits, or you just want to come out and spend a day doing it and learning it on your own, hey, give us a holler out here at Bent Rods Guide Service. We'd love to help you out.